everybody, welcome to a live DIY here at Hometalk. My name is Julie and I'm a craft and DIY blogger over at Julie Measures, and today is all about unicorns. You might have noticed the unicorns are kind of having a moment right now. Not that they were ever unpopular, but they seem to be having a spotlight right now. So I'm going to show you how to take a simple horse that you'll find, just a plastic toy horse that you're going to find at a toy store, and we're going to turn it into a DIY unicorn lamp. So let me know as we're getting started today where you're tuning in from. I'm here in Dallas area in North Texas, and we're having some beautiful summer weather today. So like I said, we're going to do a DIY unicorn lamp, and I'm transforming a plastic toy horse. So this is just kind of a thick standard toy horse that you can get at the toy store, and we're going to transform it. So I've got my lamp base, and I went with a really simple lamp because I want the horse, my unicorn, to really stand out. So the first step is that I want him, instead of just having him on the lamp, I really want him to be part of the lamp. Almost think of like a carousel horse, so where the rod is going to go through him. Depending on your lamp, you might be able to take it apart and put the rod through the horse, but we'll get to that in a second. So the first thing we need to do is drill into our horse. So I've got a cordless drill here, and I'm going to bring in some help for just a second to get this guy drilled. So this is a 5/8 inch drill bit, and we're just going to go through the horse straight down the middle and make this. And it's going to pull out a bunch of plastic. So you might, if you want to clamp it down, I brought in help instead. And this is pretty thick plastic, so hold on tight as you're drilling through. And we just want that to go all the way through. And as you can see, it pulled out a bunch of plastic. But you can see that goes all the way through, and we can kind of clean it up as we go, but that's a start. So, like I said, depending on your lamp, if you can unscrew it so that you can slide Mr. Horse onto the rod, that's great. I, unfortunately, didn't realize after I bought my lamp that I can't really take it apart and do that. So, if you also can't take your lamp apart, you can grab a handsaw, and we're just going to make a cut on one side of the horse so that we can kind of bend him and then wrap him around that rod. So, we're going to use 2 people for this. I'm going to kind of hold while someone else cuts, and you're going to try to line up the blade, obviously in a straight line as best you can from the top to the bottom. Again, if you have a way to clamp him down, that's great. I'm just using 2 people, and we're going to try to pull his hoof out of the way too. So if you can disassemble your lamp, that's great. If not, this is another way to do it. I learned when we did another one of these that I guess I hadn't really thought about, but because you're using a saw to saw through it, there will be a gap that you can't ever really fully close again once you've cut him because of the width of the saw. But I'm going to show you how we can cover that up at the end of our project. So once he's cut, then we're ready to paint him. And if you've ever watched one of these live giveaways before, you know we always do, or one of these live DIYs before, I'm sorry, we always do a giveaway. And so today's giveaway is how would you paint your horse that you're transforming into unicorn?
We've got a lot of people saying they would paint it rainbow colors.
I love it. So I'm going with
white and rainbow.
Oh, so I'm making mine, I'm knocking things off, sorry about that noise. I'm going with a gold and kind of a aqua green. That's what it's called. So rather than spray paint my horse, I'm going to use this thing called Rub and Buff. It's a metallizer. And I'm going to show you, if you've never heard of this before, how this works. So this is kind of like a wax instead of a paint that you rub on to your item. And it's great on plastic or all sorts of materials. But it uses like real gold flakes to metallize your item. And I just think it gives it a great finish. So you're going to, and it comes in this little tube. So I'm using this piece of wood kind of like a palette. You can see where I have already done this a little bit. So you squeeze some out onto your board. And then you could use a towel, or I'm using, this is a shop rag, kind of like a sturdier paper towel. And I wrapped it around my finger. And then I'm going to dab it into the gold and then kind of wipe off the excess. A little goes a long way. You want to start with a little bit and then add more. And you just wipe it onto your horse. And it, just like it says, metallizes it. I mean, how cool is that? So this is a great way if you don't want to, I mean, you could spray paint it. I think this gives it a more metal look, which is what I was going for with my gold. Sometimes I struggle with gold spray paint. It doesn't really give me the gold look that I want. I don't know if anybody else has that problem. But I think that this, because it is, I mean, it's real, it's got gold in it, it's metal. We are metallizing our horse. And you can just rub that and you can see how, and because it, said thinking of it like a wax. So if you've waxed your car, which my husband, as he was trying to explain it to me, and then he realized that I've never waxed a car. So it didn't work as well for his analogy, but if you have, it's kind of the same idea. So you put a little on, and then we can go back and rub some more. I like it that it's kind of hard to mess up. I like foolproof projects. Maybe you're with me. But I really liked the idea of a, I don't know, a magical gold unicorn. So that's what I went with. So you can keep applying this.
Put glitter on your horse.
Ooh, glitter would be fun. So some of these, I'm going to try to, I'm not going to, this isn't going to be perfect, but I just want you guys to see how this works. So you can put it on there, and once you've then got it pretty well on there, you can kind of go back and like buff it like you would actually with some gold. Now, because of his face, I'm going to squeeze out a little bit more. There are some details that are kind of hard to rub in with the rag. So you can take a brush, and this is just a really cheap, inexpensive craft brush, and go in on some of the details on his face and things that might be harder to get with that rag. And you can make it as, you know, thick. I said you can keep adding in layers. So you can make this as thick or as thin as you want. And we're going to paint the mane and some of the other parts. So if you don't get those as coated, that's okay. Just whatever part of him you want gold. So there's kind of a look of how he's going. And we could keep going on, but I'm going to go ahead and do the acrylic paint. Because this is also a wax, it's not, I don't really have to wait for it to dry like I would with spray paint or any other kind of paint. But you can come back and just buff it like you would anything else. Okay, so once that's going, you can paint over it, and this is an acrylic paint, and it's, I'm going to use my kind of palette here again, and it's a water-based, So I'm going to grab another craft brush, and then I've got some water. And I'm going to do this in here. And then I'm going to paint my mane and any parts of the horse, all the hair, the mane and the tail.
If you wanted to, you could add other colors elsewhere.
Yes. And you could
Make it
do,
rainbow.
I mean, yeah, all the different rainbows ideas. You could do the hair in a multitude of colors. We are going to add in one other color with another detail in a minute. But I just liked, in my head, I don't know why, I just had this like teal and gold and pink. So that was kind of my color palette for my unicorn. So I'm just trying to get the hair and not obviously any of the body, because I want his body to be gold.
Audrey says hello from Indiana, and this is brilliant.
Hello. So yeah, keep letting us know what color you're going to paint your unicorn. Indiana. I don't think I've ever been to Indiana.
I can start singing Gary, Indiana.
I was going to say, yes, you are lucky. My sister, who's filming with me today, you can say hi to Lauren, is a singer and does musical theater here in the Dallas area. So she might break out into song with Gary, Indiana in a minute.
Hello from Sweden. Hello, Sandy.
Hello. So I'm doing a little bit around the horse. So if you missed any of the beginning, we are taking just a toy store plastic horse, and we are turning it into a unicorn because we're making a DIY unicorn lamp. So let's recap real quick. So we started just with our plastic horse, and we drilled out his middle. And I used a you can see all the way through there?
Yep.
A 5/8 inch drill bit because that matched the width of my lamp base. So you can kind of compare those, right? So I needed it about the same width as my base. If you can disassemble your lamp, then you could just slide your unicorn horse down the piece. If, like me, and you realize after you've found this fabulous deal on a lamp, and so you don't want to go buy another lamp, but that you can't disassemble your lamp, you can cut your horse, and then we're just going to like wrap him around the base, or around the rod, not the base. So let me talk a little bit about that. You could, of course, skip the drilling and the cutting and just put him on the lamp. But I was afraid that if you did it that way, he would be too easy to break off and play with. And I have boys that break all kinds of things. And I just knew that my horse would not be attached to my lamp for very long if he was just glued on and wasn't secured in a more permanent fashion. So that was my need for really attaching him. And then he's kind of like a carousel horse, and that brings all kinds of fun memories for me. My grandfather carved horses, and I don't mean like little toy horses. I mean full-sized
carousel horses.
Carousel horses.
It was awesome.
That were in their hallway when I was a kid.
And it was amazing.
So, having a unicorn carousel horse thing just brings all the happy for me. So,
hello, Mary from Italy.
Italy. I have been to Italy. It was beautiful. My problem with traveling, though, is that my list of places I want to travel to never gets smaller. It's like my reading list. It only gets bigger. And even once I've been to a place, then I want to go back. All right, so we're going to call that good. You know, obviously try to be careful. I just painted his leg because I was trying to rush. So take your time with the painting so that you don't paint his leg like I just did.
Mm.
And then you can rinse out your brush. These are little just craft store brushes, but if I rinse it, then I can reuse it. I like to reuse things. Okay. So while that kind of tealish color is setting for just a minute, it would not be a unicorn if he didn't have a horn, right? He needs a horn, or otherwise he's not a unicorn. So, we're going to get a whole nother medium out. So I found this pink sculpting clay that has a bit of shimmer in it. I doubt that you can see that
Nope, I don't see
in the
it.
camera. But it has a little bit of some golden, pearl. That's what it is. It's a fuchsia pearl. So it's got a little bit of sparkle. If you head over to my blog, there's a picture of a close-up of his horn, and you can kind of see it. So, if you've never worked with sculpting clay before, you kind of have to warm it up a little bit, and you do that just by kneading it in your hands. And I actually don't need very much for this, so I can work with just a fairly small piece. And I'm just kneading it in my hands. Kind of pinching it, twisting it. I'm going to roll it around. And then I'm going to roll it out like a snake. And I want 2 of these snake pieces. And this is how we're going to make the horn. Oh, it broke. It's not quite warmed up enough. But, so if yours breaks, just keep working it. When it's softer, it's more pliable. And my sister, who is the better sculpting artist, but she's videoing today. So, alright, so we're rolling this out. I'm going to pinch off another little piece. See if I can get this piece a little bit longer. Okay, this is still a little cold. So warm it up and then roll it out into a snake. And then once you have 2 fairly thin pieces, that's what I twisted together to make the horn. So you just twist those, and it's kind of breaking, but if your piece is nice and warm, then you twist those, and then you can break off the ends and kind of hold it up and see how long you want your unicorn horn to be. And you can kind of, maybe push the bottom end a little down so that it's fatter on the bottom and pointy at the top. So you can decide how big you want your unicorn horn to be. And then you'll want to follow the directions on the sculpting clay. So mine says to bake at 275 Fahrenheit for 15 minutes per 1/4 of an inch. So I baked my horn for about 30 minutes, and that worked out really well. So you can see the 2 pieces of clay twisted together, and that's going to be my unicorn horn. So I'm going to actually see if I can put my gloves back on and see if we can get our horse to start attaching to our lamp, because he's going to need a little bit finishing because we had to cut him. So let's do another recap. Plastic toy horse from the toy store. We drilled out the center all the way through. Then we cut him. If you can slide your horse onto your lamp without, if you can take your lamp apart and just slide your horse on, you can skip the cutting part. If you can't, which I realized I cannot without some fabulous newly learned electrical skills, you can make that cut, and then we're going to kind of pry him, and he's still wet, so that's why I put my gloves back on. Obviously you would want to wait until he's dry. And I'm trying to bend him open so that I can come on, baby, bend. Bend him open and push him onto the lamp base. Like this, kind of. And also, when I did this the other day, it helped to warm him up a little bit, which I don't have that heat tool right here, but you can see he's making a mess because he's all wet. So, bending him, and if you have another set of hands, just like the drilling part, whoa, trying not to break it in the, okay, we're going to take a pause for a minute, now that I've made him a mess. Okay, I'm on a different table and I'm just afraid if I keep pushing, something's going to break. Anyway, you would push him on. He's all colorful now. That was not really intention, but you get the idea. Okay. Once he's on the base, then you can use some hot glue to attach the horn. And you can see with all the wrestling trying to get him on there, why you would want A, to wait until he's dry so he doesn't look like that, and B, why you would want to wait to attach the horn, because it's kind of fragile and you don't want to knock it off while you're wrestling him. So I'm just using hot glue. You can use, I use super glue for another one, but he just gets his horn and then he's
a nice happy unicorn.
a nice happy unicorn. And I wanted to show you the last step that you would do once he's wrapped around your lamp base, and that is to fill in this seam that we talked about. And I know he's not on his base, but I want to show you how to do this anyway. So I would use, I've just got this sculpting clay, but ideally I would use air dry clay, because, but same thing, air dry and this clay, you're going to remember we're working it, and then, so I'm kind of making another snake, but I'm making it flat, because I'm going to put it in the seam. I would put it in the seam, and then I can use that same metallizer to go over the seam, which gives it a seamless look. So you can see our finished, and this is that seam right here that you can kind of tell, but I filled it in with the clay, and then I got my metallizer back out and I went over it so that he's all filled in. So you can see how the pole goes through him, and we wrapped him around that rod and then filled in the seam. And that's how you can take a plastic toy horse and turn it into a lamp. And then I just got a cute little lampshade with some gold in it that kind of goes with the gold on my unicorn. And I think I might even take a paintbrush and take some of those other colors and make some other dots to really tie that all in. I haven't quite decided though, so that's it. So if you haven't decided yet what color you're going to do yours, maybe this will inspire you to get those colors going. I do like the idea of rainbow, so now that I've got this guy all a multitude of colors, we might just go crazy and make him kind of tie-dye looking.
Hometalk has chosen a winner. And their winner is Ashley Wood.
Congratulations, Ashley. Thanks so much for tuning in and participating and letting us know what colors that you are inspired by. Make sure that you are subscribed to Hometalk. Give them a like and a thumbs up. and check back in with them tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern for another live DIY. You can find me over at Julie Measures, where I'm sharing crafts and recipes and all sorts of fun do-it-yourself activities. So keep making, keep crafting, and I'll hang out with you guys for another craft real soon. Bye!